All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Acceptance Student Today. My name is Narki Norton. I'm here as Assistant Director within the Graduate School's Office of Recruitment and Diversity Initiatives. And we're super excited to have you all. You've gotten into Georgia, so we're super stoked for you. We have some current students who will be talking to you today. We have amazing campus partners. We have some of our administration here to talk with you as well. I want to set the tone and make sure you know how we're going to proceed within these 2 hours. First and foremost, please make sure you keep your sound on mute. Thank you very much. Feel free to share your video if you'd like. If you want to keep it off, that's completely fine. But we're here for you. I want to first offer by saying that we have an in-person version and a virtual program as well. So for those of you, many of you who are out of the country, out of state, this is a more comparable option. So this is typically a 4-hour event. All of my campus partners know how long this is, and Alma, you know as well. So we try to truncate this to be 2 hours because I want you to, wherever your time zone is, after you finish these 2 hours, you go, you eat, you sleep, you rest, or go play, whatever the things you need to do. We know that Zoom can be long, so I want to just caveat this by saying this is traditionally a 2-hour long event, but we have it down a 4-hour long event, but we have it down to 2 hours to try and accommodate you and make sure we respect your time and make sure we respect the time of our partners and students. Please keep that in mind. We will send you the presentation slides of this presentation for ASD. You also already received an invitation through the calendar invite, the links that our presenters will be sharing today. So you have that link as well. But you will receive my presentation. You'll also receive the pre-recorded video so you can review anything you'd like. Towards the end, we will have some random giveaways for those who have attended and lasted the full 2 hours. So that will be towards the tail end of the presentation. Before we start with our welcome, I wanted to make sure you all know who's represented today. So we have approximately 23 countries on today's call. So we thank you all for logging in from wherever you're from. We also have approximately 25 states that's also present within the United States. So I really like to show you the profile of how many people are here who are incoming graduate students who are just as excited as you. So we're glad to have you here. And this last slide before we do our welcome is just some of the major questions in registration, some of these themes that appeared that students wanted to know about. Some of these questions will be answered throughout the presentation. Some of these will especially, you'll get a chance to hear from the panelists towards the tail end of our agenda. So keep that in mind. And for the panelists who may not answer some of these, that'll be your chance to talk to them. So they'll do some pre-scripted questions towards the end. And any of these questions that you have or beyond these, you'll be more than happy to ask. So I just want to let you know that we do pay attention to your questions. I love to remind our students that this Acceptance Students Day event is for any student from any field. What I mean by that is it's not specific to STEM or not specific to humanities. We want to cover as much information for many of the students. I also will caveat that most of this information is privy to main campus on our Athens campus, something I've communicated on the events. So I like to say that so you know that we're not going to dive into your disciplines or your departments. We ask that you definitely communicate with your departments those discipline-specific questions, but we want you to know that this is information that anybody can use. So thanks so much. I hope you enjoyed seeing the presentation of who's from where on this call, and then some of your major questions. Now, I want to pause and introduce the Assistant Dean for the Graduate School, Dr. Meredith Welch-Devine. Dr. Welch-Devine, the floor is yours.
All right. Well, hello, everyone, and good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are. I'm really pleased to be here with you. And I wanted first to congratulate you first just on your acceptance into your graduate program at UGA. It's really exciting, and I'm thrilled for you. And I'm really glad that you could join us for today's events. Dean Walcott wanted to be here today to welcome you, but he is traveling and was unable to. So he asked me to pass along his best wishes and also to share a few thoughts with you. So what you're doing right now, this whole process of getting ready for and going to graduate school, it's a super important step in your professional development. I'm sure you know your graduate degree is going to open doors for you. But that degree is really so much more than just a credential. It's the embodiment of your hard work and your dedication, and it's a symbol of your knowledge and proof that you have what it takes to succeed. And today, what's great is you're going to learn all about what UGA has to offer, and you're going to learn about the City of Athens and get that very valuable opportunity, as Narki said, to speak with current students. So it really wasn't that long ago that they are where you are now, kind of weighing some of the same choices and decisions and getting ready in the same way that you are. So really, I want to encourage you to take advantage of your time with them and ask them everything that you want to know. Narki also referenced your academic programs and the need to ask them specific questions. I want to emphasize too that they're really going to be your home while you're here. That's where you're going to get the bulk of your training, the bulk of your professional development. But there are so many other places and so many other opportunities and resources on campus that I want to make sure that you keep your eyes open for. You're going to hear about a lot of that today. But also when you get here, just make sure that you keep your eyes and ears open. More advanced students in your programs will have some great suggestions. There's also the University Master Calendar, and the graduate school sends out a weekly digest that you're going to want to look at for sure. But across campus, there are seminars, there are lectures and exhibits, there are performances, there are other courses, there are certificate programs. There are just so many things that you can draw on to enrich your experience here. So I want to encourage you to be open to all of those things. And we are particularly excited this year that this fall we're launching a new program called Grad First. It's a really exciting new initiative to help students thrive in graduate school. So every incoming first year student is going to participate in these seminars that provide foundational training and research and scholarship, but also professional development and networking with students across campus. So we're super excited about those. And there are lots of different opportunities, so you can choose one that really fits your interests. So I think that Grad First really kind of signals that our commitment is about student success. Student success is kind of what we are, who we are at UGA. And here we see you as a whole person. So in addition to helping you achieve your goals in terms of being a top-notch scholar, being a leader in your field, we also want to do all we can to help you be healthy and help you be strong. And so that's another thing you're going to hear about today. We have a wealth of mental health resources, well-being resources. So take advantage of those. You know, graduate school is an exciting time, but it's also a demanding time. And it's really important that you take care of yourself, you know, body and mind, and make sure that you avail yourself of all the resources that you need to be well. And remember that despite the fact that it is hard work and stressful, grad school is a really special time. You know, it's a time that you have freedom, just unparalleled freedom to chase your passion and to think broadly and deeply. And the most important thing is you're going to meet new friends and colleagues who will support you through the rest of your career. You know, my grad school cohort, even though it was quite a long time ago, we're still regularly in touch, and we see each other at conferences, and anytime we need recommendation letters or things like that, these people are a great resource. So start with that today. It's a little bit different when you're in a virtual setting, but meet people, you know, leave here knowing someone new and stay in touch. So I'll wrap up and let you get on with the show, but I just wanted to wish you the very, very best as you prepare for grad school. Don't hesitate to reach out to us if you have any questions, if we can be of assistance, and I'm really looking forward to seeing you in the fall. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Welch Devine. It is always a pleasure to have you here. Dr. Welch Devine, everything she said is completely accurate. I really enjoyed talking to her. Me and almost see her all the time. We're family here. So this doesn't have to be the last time you see the faces of the folks that's on this call. So please reach out. We'll see you at orientation. So just say, hey, you were from the ASD presentation, and connect, because it really does work when you start talking and reaching out of the Zoom box into the real world in terms of how you make these connections. Thank you so much. Really appreciate you being here today.
Of course. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye. All right, everyone, now that we've got our welcome, I'm going to switch over to our campus partners. So once again, in your calendar invite, you receive the links of the presentations they have provided. This presentation slide will also be given to you so you can email them for questions later, perhaps some deeper questions that you may not hear about. But each panelist will give a 3 to 5 minute presentation, once again, being respectful of that 2-hour mark. After they present, if you have any burning questions, we definitely want you to email them, or if you don't mind private messaging the speaker so that they can stay on about a couple minutes before they leave. They'll wait to see any private messages of some major questions that was not answered in the presentation, or if once again, if you feel that you would like to ask those questions later, you can see the slide has their contact information. So we're going to start with Liz, and everybody else knows the order. So I'm going to stop sharing screen and we'll have all 5. Liz, the floor is yours.
Hey, thanks, Narky. Can everybody hear me? Give me a thumbs up if that is true. Thank you. Hi, I am Elizabeth White. I'm one of the librarians here at UGA. I'm one of those people here to help you, and I want to echo what Narky and Dr. Welch Devine said. Everyone here, all the partners in this meeting are here to help you. Graduate school is hard. Graduate school is taking something you love and making sure that your love is true by making you hate it. So remember that there's people here to help you and to make sure you succeed. So please don't hesitate to utilize the resources you're going to be exposed to today. You're also going to get a lot of information, especially from me. I spend a lot of time thinking about information overload. So I want to point out that a lot of us will be on campus, especially if you're coming in person for orientation. So you will probably get access to us again, but remember that this is not the first time you can talk to us. All right, so I'm going to share my screen. Let's see. All right, and let me make my Zoom boxes decide to not be what they want to do. So I am one of the librarians for the UGA Libraries. UGA Libraries is a massive institution on campus that is here to assist you in your research needs by offering materials, scholarship, as well as expertise. We have multiple buildings and libraries on campus. Here is just a brief overview of the ones that are used the most. We are the largest library in the state of Georgia and one of the largest in the Southeast. Our library is bigger than Alabama's, and I just like to point that out. We have 4.7 million print volumes and hundreds of thousands of ebooks, electronic journals, etc. We have multiple buildings on campus. The main library, the science library, and the special collection library are the 3 biggest. And of course, we have the Miller Learning Center, which is a learning commons. It has the most classroom space and study space on campus. We have 96 study rooms. So we are a good place to go if you want to get work done. There are 40 subject specialist librarians. For any field of study on campus. If you are studying something at UGA, there's a librarian that is available to assist you. You'll probably meet us at some point during your orientation. We do a lot of different things. We teach classes, we help craft research assignments. UGA has citation management software that is free for you to use. We train you in how to do that. And we also assist you with your research. If you do not know what citation management software is, citation management software, in this case, the 2 that UGA provides are EndNote and RoughWorks, are software that allows you to download citations directly from a database, be it Google Scholar or one of our Galileo databases, and it allows you to then edit those citations and then insert them into Word documents and format them in one of 5,000 styles. That's normally when people get really interested, because if there's one thing that all of us can say we hate, it's having to format citations in our papers. RefWorks and EndNote do that for you. We also have a lot of events on campus geared towards graduate students. We do GIS Day, we do Spring into Research and Fall into Research. These are graduate research series where we do virtual and in-person sessions about different topics that graduate students could use. For example, we did a really great session about the basics of doing a literature review. I've done sessions about how to keep current with your research and the research that's being published in your field, as well as different sessions about writing and citing, setting up alerts, etc. So we do a lot of, give a lot of programs and talks that are useful for graduate students. One thing that I want to highlight that is new, a lot of graduate students are interested in special funding resources. We do have access to Pivot, and I can train you how to use it. It is an extensive grant finding tool. But brand spanking new from last semester, we have a new open source publishing fund. This fund is for graduate students only, and it is available to help graduate students pay open access publication fees. So if you get accepted to a journal and you would like for your article to be made open access, oftentimes the journal would ask you for a fee. This fund is only for graduate students who have had accepted articles in peer-reviewed research journals and would like to be able to make their research open access. Open access means that you do not have to have a subscription to the journal to read your research article. We have a digital media lab in the Miller Learning Center, which is open to all UGA affiliated people. Oftentimes in different departments, there will be labs and resources that are only available to graduate students in that degree program. This lab is available to everybody. It has Mac Pros, a recording booth, professional multimedia software, as well as various transfer tools. It is a really great resource, and you do not have to be using it for an academic purpose in order to use it. We've had people who have worked on podcasts or video editing that is just in an area that they're interested in, and it is a great resource that you can use. We also have a makerspace. The makerspace is in the science library, is open again to all affiliated users. It has 3D printers, advanced drafting software, a laser cutter, and all sorts of other fun and exciting things. You also get free 3D printing. The Office of Research has funded multicolored plastic filament up into a certain point for people to use. So your first 3D printing jobs would be free, and after that point would be pennies on the dollar. So this makerspace is used by people in computer science who are, creating small items for computers. We've had people in veterinary medicine 3D print joints, like an artificial joint for a dog. And we also have different kits that you can check out as well. So it is a really cool resource. I highly recommend using it. We also have an extensive technology lending program. In the Miller Learning Center and also in the Main and Science Library, you can check out cameras, mics, laptops, tablets, and tripods. This is a great resource. The MLC just does the cameras and the mics and laptops, but both the Main Science and MLC check out laptops. And we are expanding that program significantly for the fall, so there will be a lot more laptops you can check out. These are short-term loans around 24 hours. We are looking at longer-term loans based on need. But if you need to borrow a laptop or a camera, you can do so here. And this is only for students. faculty, staff cannot check out from these. So you are the only people who get to use this. We have an extensive digital humanities lab. If you're doing some sort of text analysis or you need to use various scanners, we have people there that can assist you. They also do a lot of lectures and workshops on various technology and software that you can use if you're doing any sort of textual analysis. So I know that was short, sweet, and to the point. Here are pictures from the therapy dogs that we bring to campus every year. It's called Pause and Relax. So we do try to make sure that you as students are supported while you're here at UGA. If you have direct questions, please feel free to chat with me. I'll be here for a little while. And thank you for listening. I know that was a lot. So if you have other questions, please feel free to ask.
All right, remember you can ask those questions in the chat, private message Elizabeth White, and if not through that, you can email Elizabeth as well. Up next is Carrie.
Hello, everyone. I'm Carrie Campbell from University Housing, and I will do my presentation really quickly. Let me share. Everybody see that? Cool. Okay, so I want to preface this presentation by saying we are currently full for graduate housing in University Housing at UGA for the fall. For spring, we may have some spaces left. And for next fall, certainly no one has started. Okay, cat, that I have to start talking for the cat to come. So for next fall, that is definitely an option as well. And those applications will probably open up in October. So look for that, but I'm going to go through it anyways, just so y'all have an idea of what we're looking at. So students actually choose their own apartments. We have graduate housing specifically for graduate students, separate from our undergraduate population. It's all apartment style. And those are all in a few different areas of campus, but they're all on campus and all in the UGA bus routes and everything like that. So great location specifically for graduate students. And we let students choose those, which ones they want, based on when they register and saying they're interested in choosing housing and pay a $35 fee. So the sooner you do that, the greater chance you'll have of getting a space that you really want wherever you want it. This is kind of how our graduate apartment structure looks like. So we have the University Village community, which is all our graduate apartments. Within that, we have a smaller University Village apartment complex. We have a Rogers Road apartment complex, and we have a Brandon Oaks apartment complex. So the Brandon Oaks one is going to be for families and students with children, because there's a big playground in a central quad there. Ooh, I skipped one. And the last is UV East, which is actually undergraduate students living in those apartments. We also have specific housing for people in the College of Public Health and Augusta University Medical Partnership. So if you're a graduate student in the College of Public Health or getting your, doctorate, you're going to be an actual, not an actual doctor. Some of y'all might be actual doctors, a medical doctor. We have townhomes on our health sciences campus. We also have an undergraduate residence hall there as well. So that's available to those students. Some things you'll get in university housing are, the fee for housing includes everything that you need while you're there. So internet, sewer, water, electricity, all of that is included. It goes on your student account. So if you have any financial aid, it will be easy to pay because it's just right on your student account. Laundry rooms and all those places. We also have playgrounds, basketball courts, tennis courts, picnic areas. They're all on the bus routes. Our apartments are unfurnished, though we also have an option to have a roommate. So we have 2-bedroom apartments where you can opt to have a roommate, and you're essentially splitting that rent or that fee in half when you do that. And then everybody's got full kitchens, just like a regular apartment that you're thinking of. And then hold on, I gotta. Okay, sorry. Kids are home. Okay. Let's see. Then we've got resident controlled heating and air. So just a regular apartment that you would imagine. All right, let's not let me click to the next one. There we go. So if you're interested in what it looks like for, what are you allowed to do? What are you allowed to have? What does the contracts look like? I would look at the community guide. There's one online now. If you just go to housing.uga.edu, that's a great way to kind of get a glimpse of what the policies and regulations are within living with housing. Then I thought of some frequently asked questions here. So I always get the question, are pets allowed? No, unless you have fish in a 20-gallon aquarium or less. And of course, service animals are allowed, and emotional support animals are also allowed. Your fees, like I said, are charged monthly to your student account. So that's a great way to go ahead and just make sure that that's right there on your student account. If there's financial aid already in there, gets paid automatically. Scholarships gets paid automatically. Domestic partners and dependents are welcome. That does not increase the fee for housing. They can live with you in that apartment and you'll still just have one contract rate for that apartment. And then a question we get a lot too is if you have a roommate apartment, does that roommate have a separate contract in you? And yes, they do. So you're not responsible for their contract term or subleasing their space. If they leave and you're not stuck with double the rate, you still pay your own half of the rate. And then, like I said before, apartments are assigned in the order in which students register to live on campus. We will give you an appointment time when you can log on, look through all the spaces that are available, and choose one for yourself. All right, I did want to talk a little bit about graduate assistantships because we're not too late for that for next fall. Already too late for that this fall. So housing has a really robust graduate assistantship program, but it's also a really early deadline. So the deadline for next fall for our assistantships is December of this year. That makes sense. So if you're looking ahead to fall 2023, you want to be applying by December of 2022. And that's because our assistantships are really competitive because not only do they include a tuition waiver, they include housing in a graduate apartment and a dining plan as well. So as well as a stipend. So those are really competitive, but we do have about 20 assistantships. If you're interested in seeing what those are, you can go to work for housing. I'll click on it and see if it shares. Probably didn't, you can't see that. Oh, well, I'll go back. So if you go to work for housing, you can see what those different assistantships are, but just keep in mind that early deadline of December. And that is all I have. If you have any more questions, you can contact me or you can contact the University Housing Office.
Thank you so much, Carrie. Always a pleasure to see you. And thanks for letting us see your cat.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. All right, Whitney, you are up to bat.
All right, well, thank you. And it's so wonderful to see so many people on today's call. Let me get my slides ready to go. All right.
And I really like your virtual background with it's definitely, for those who don't know, that's the our chapel right where Whitney's virtual image is.
Yes. Narki, can you see that in full screen mode on your end?
It is not in full screen mode. It's still showing the list of PowerPoint slides to the left and then the major slide to the right. I think once you hit from beginning.
Yeah, I just did that. That's odd.
You have more than one screen out of curiosity?
I do.
Yeah, I know the struggle.
I know. Do you know what I can do to fix that?
I would stop sharing screen.
Okay.
That would be the first thing. And then when you click the share button again, it'll usually give you some of the panels as options. So can you see the full screen of yours now? There you go. You're good.
Okay, let's see if I can go back one. Okay, well, it's not showing my first slide, so apologize. But yeah, I'll go ahead and get going. But it's great to see so many people on today's call. Like you said, my name is Whitney Prescott, and I am the Director of Career Development and Programs in the UGA Career Center. So I'm excited to give you just a brief overview of the Career Center and really touch on just some of the top resources for graduate students. We have a wealth of resources. Won't have time to go into all of them, but wanted to share a few of those top resources. So just for a quick overview, I want you all to know that you are not alone. When you think about kind of career preparation, if you're ever feeling super stressed about that, we want you to know that you are not alone. We operate in the Career Center on a college-specific model of career services, which really means that you have a designated career consultant based on your kind of major or area of study here at UGA. So if you're ever feeling stressed about those things, know you have a person. So we typically work with you in a number of ways, but kind of our primary ways are through appointments. So those are either 30-minute or 1-hour appointments. Those are one-on-one with your designated career consultant. And those can take place virtually or in person. And all the details on that can be found on our website, career.uga.edu. But if you're not an appointment person and you're like, I just need to drop by, we have drop-in hours, both in person and virtual. So again, all of those details can be found on our website. We look forward to engaging with you in that way. In terms of services, I'm just going to hit kind of the high points. But we can help you kind of explore careers. You may, feel very confident in your area of study, but maybe don't understand or see how it kind of translates to, a career path that you're going to be excited about. And we can help with that. We can certainly help you develop your resume, CVs, portfolios. We can help with professional etiquette and networking, employer communication and research, salary negotiation and offer evaluation. I think sometimes just having a sounding board for those things can be super helpful. Of course, as you can imagine, job and internship search, career fair and interview prep, finding a mentor, social media, LinkedIn. Hopefully that gives you just a general idea of some of the many things that we can help out with in the Career Center. So some of the resources I'm going to kind of speak about over the next few slides are just some of our top 5 resources for graduate students. Our career guides, Handshake, a resource called InterStride, our Arch Ready Professionalism Certificate Series, as well as the UGA Mentor Program. So we're going to kind of dive into each of those real quick. You may or may not know, we have a career guide dedicated for graduate students here at the University of Georgia. We realize that graduate students, the job search can be different. Networking is a little different. Your application materials are different. So we want to really cater to those particular needs as graduate students. So we have a whole career guide dedicated to that, similar to how we have an undergraduate career guide as well. So you're welcome to check that out on our website. In addition, when you scan this QR code, there are other career guides that are available to you. So we have an international student career guide, a federal resume guide for those of you who maybe are interested in working in the federal government. And we have a Finding Your Career Fit guide that's kind of helping you explore career paths a little bit more in depth. And then as you're transitioning out of graduate school and into kind of life after UGA, we have a wonderful career guide for that as well. Handshake, many of you may be familiar with Handshake or maybe familiar with Handshake at a previous institution, but Handshake is UGA's job and internship platform, but there are a few other things that you can utilize within that platform as well. So you can schedule your career counseling appointment with your career consultant via Handshake. You can research employers, learn about those job and internship postings, and learn more about the interview process or the company culture straight from the site. You can also register and view all of our different events and programs that are happening throughout the year. For those of you who are current international students, or those of you who are current domestic students who are interested in working abroad, we have an outstanding free resource through our office called InterStride. It allows you to view international job listings, review hiring trends, look at gain some immigration guidance straight from the site. We use this and refer to this a lot in those career counseling appointments. I just wanted to make sure you were aware that this resource existed. and know that, you know, your individual career consultant can certainly explore it with you even further. Next, our Arch Ready Professionalism Certificate Series. You know, this is a fantastic series that is a non-credit bearing certificate. But if you attend 5 programs in one semester, you get a physical and electronic certificate. And truly the feedback that we get both from undergraduate and graduate students is, hey, these are the topics that I wish I was getting in the classroom. So just some sample workshops, although it covers a wide variety of topics, is negotiating salary and benefits, you know, diversity and inclusion in the workplace. More recently, we've added a series of like well-being in your career to really help out with some of those mental health issues, especially as it relates to career development. So we encourage you to check out our website and see that full list of Arch Ready programs. Sign up for those. You can do kind of a la carte, or if you decide, hey, I do want to commit to attending 5 programs in one semester, you'll be able to add that to your resume, that certificate. So last but not least, the UGA Mentor Program. This is a part of the UGA Career Center. This is a presidential initiative about 3 years ago. And so as you're navigating life in graduate school or navigating your next steps, more than likely there's a mentor, you know, that can assist you throughout the process. So whether you're thinking about a particular industry, or maybe you're wanting to speak to someone who was in your shoes, right? You know, did your degree program here at UGA, or maybe you're hoping to move somewhere. There's a number of different you know, ways that you can search and identify a mentor that really meets your needs within the platform. So it's mentor.uga.edu, and you have 2 options for engaging. You know, you can commit to a 16-week mentorship where you are connecting once a month with your mentor, or you can just set up a 30-minute informational interview. Hey, tell me about your time at UGA. I see that you majored, you know, in the same thing that I'm studying right now. What did you do with that? I see you've done a lot of cool things. Like, how can I learn more about that? Our mentor program also has incredible videos and podcast episodes to really help you get started with mentorships. We highly encourage that program as well. So that kind of concludes my section of the presentation. We are located on the 2nd floor of Clark Howell Hall, right across from the Tate Student Center. You see kind of our contact information there and some more QR codes to access our site. I'll be sticking around to answer any questions that you all have, but again, know that you are not alone. And the second you start feeling stressed about anything career related, reach out and schedule an appointment with your career consultant. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Whitney. So glad to have you here. Next up is Steve or Steven. I don't know. Have we talked about that? I don't know
Depends
if
on
we
if I'm in
have.
trouble or not. How are
Okay,
y'all doing?
Steve then. Steve
Yeah.
sounds like not in trouble. I don't know.
Yeah, I like it. Can everybody hear me okay?
Yes.
Great. Well, I'd like to welcome each of you to UGA. My name is Steve Rose. I'm the Marketing Communications Manager here at the University Health Center. Several of the people that have spoken before me have talked about or mentioned well-being. That is a huge focus here for us on campus. Earlier this year at the president's State of the University address, he allocated $2 million to well-being across the campus. So that's something that we're very excited about. Obviously, well-being is our #1 focus here at the Health Center. So I'm going to take a few minutes just to talk about a few of the resources that we have here, and then I'll be available after for chat for specific questions. I'm going to share my screen. All right, everybody see that?
We cannot see your screen yet, Steve. And it's starting now, though. All right, we can see it now.
Great. So the University Health Center, we're located over on East Campus, which is going to be right across from the Ramsey Center, which is our big fitness facility. We do have free parking here at the Health Center, which as you get on campus, you'll realize is a very valuable thing. We also are on the bus line, so we're easily accessed. We have 110,000 square feet facility and about 300 employees. So as far as university health centers go, we're pretty large, pretty proud of that, and a lot of exciting things going on. When we get done, if you'll go to our website, we actually have a video that's available that will give a tour of the facility. But in the interest of time, I'm going to skip that part of the presentation now and dive into some of the details. So why should you come to the University Health Center? The number one reason is for us is you're on campus. So this is a matter of convenience. We actually have everything under one roof here. We've got primary care, specialty care, everything from labs and radiology to pharmacy and mental health through our CAPS division, which we'll talk about in a minute, but all under one roof. And once the student fees are paid, your student health fees are paid, there is no out-of-pocket cost for your primary care. That's for primary care and our gynecology clinic, which is a great value. So I mentioned our primary care. We have actually 4 primary care clinics here in the health center. Once you are enrolled, you will receive an email that will tell you who your primary care clinic is. This is going to be a team of doctors and nurses that will stay with you through your entire time here at the university. As mentioned earlier, there's no out-of-pocket cost for that. Another thing that we have here is our Joint Commission accreditation. This is the same governing body that accredits hospitals across the country. The University Health Center here at University of Georgia is only one of 14 health centers across the country that has this accreditation. So we're very proud of that and excited to have that.
Hey, Steve, a quick question. Are your slides moving on your computer?
Yes, they are.
It
You guys
is.
not see?
Yeah, so we now see your mouse. If click once on their slide, and then it should be able to start moving. Okay, perfect.
How about
We can
that?
see it now. Yes, thank you.
Thank you for pointing that out. In addition to our primary care clinics, we also have specialty clinics here, which we have a dental clinic, a vision clinic, physical therapy, which houses our massage therapy. We have an allergy and travel clinic, which is great for immunizations and things before you go out to travel. In-house labs and radiology, and our counseling and psychiatry group, which is our CAPS group. So kind of the way this would work is, say a student comes in, they've got a sore throat. They would go visit their primary care physician. There's going to be no charge for that visit, and that's an unlimited amount of visits. If that physician orders labs to be done and writes a prescription, there would be a cost for that, but we do file insurance. So because the labs are done in-house, it's going to be quick results, and the pharmacy is in-house. So once the prescription is written, the student can go right down to the pharmacy and get their prescription and be on their way without having to ever leave campus. One other thing that we have just started fairly recently that we're excited about is having behavioral health care managers or mental health experts that are embedded into our primary care clinic. So what this allows us to do is if we have any students that present that they're demonstrating high levels of stress or anxiety, we actually have mental health professionals that are there in the primary care clinics that can help take care of that. You'll see once you get on campus a lot of the Be Well UGA initiatives, which are well-being resources that we have available. The great thing about these are they're all, for the most part, going to be free resources. These are focused all on just general well-being, but also a lot of mental health issues. A lot of these are going to be put on by our health promotions department and our CAPS group, which I'll talk about here in just a minute. So our health promotions department is housed inside of the University Health Center here. They are going to do a lot of things that are going to focus kind of on prevention. We know that prevention is kind of the key to having problems further down the road. So these guys are focused on things like doing the wellness coaching. They actually have nutritionists on staff who can work with students to plan out meal plans. We do some cooking classes, things like that, all here inside of the health center. They can help you with sleep issues, stress, anxiety, anything like that. Also within our health promotion department is the Fontaine Center, and they're going to be working on alcohol and other drug prevention and recovery services, and also our RSVP group, which focuses on relationship and sexual violence prevention. So CAPS, our counseling and psychiatric services. This is a short-term model for mental health that we have. We've got a group of about 30 clinicians and therapists, psychiatrists on staff who are available to help. we have about 38,000 students. So you can do the math and see that it's going to be a very busy group of people. So what we like to do with the CAPS is offer short-term solutions. We can get in and have patients meet with our therapists and then develop a plan. And that plan may be to hand off to other care inside the community. But at least we can get things started with our internal CAPS group. We also offer crisis intervention for those students that might need that. So that's another resource that we have available, and those referrals that I mentioned. So the best thing you can do to keep up with us right now is social media. We've got a continuous lineup of events going on, well-being and wellness events. And by following us on our social media, you'll be kept up to date on what all is going on that and what's scheduled. And I'll be available on the chat for any questions if you have any specific questions. And also our contact information is here. Feel free to reach out to us. And I appreciate the time spent with you today.
Thank you, Steve. And you already have a question set in the general area. Once again, you can also message Steve private message in Zoom as well. Thank you, Steve, for your time. Last but not least, we have Mandy. Mandy, you are up.
Thank you so much. So let me share my screen. So can you see the slide that says Office of Student Financial Aid Info for graduate students?
Yes.
Perfect. Okay. So hello, everyone. My name is Mandy Branch, and I'm here today to let you know how the Office of Student Financial Aid assists graduate students at UGA. We assist graduate students in procuring federal direct student loans for graduate school. There are two types of federal direct student loans for graduate school: the federal direct unsubsidized loan and the federal grad plus loan. Of these two loans, the federal direct unsubsidized loan is the better loan. And I will say that repeatedly because I want to make sure that students utilize that loan before they utilize the grad plus loan. To apply for federal student loans, a student has to complete the free application for federal student aid, also known as the FAFSA. If you're going to be attending school starting this summer, then you need to complete the 21-22 FAFSA. And to be screened for federal student aid for fall 2022, spring 2023, and or summer 2023, you need to complete the 22-23 FAFSA. To qualify for federal student loans, a student has to be a U.S. citizen or an eligible non-citizen, so basically a U.S. national or permanent resident. You also have to be in an eligible degree program. So if you're pursuing a certificate-only program, those do not qualify for federal student aid. The only exception is for students who are pursuing teacher certification. And you can contact our office to find out more about pursuing loans for teacher certification. And you do also have to be enrolled at least half-time and be maintaining satisfactory academic progress for your degree. So the main one, again, is the federal direct unsubsidized loan. This one does accrue interest while you're in school, and either you can pay the interest while you're in school, or you can let the interest add to the principal and begin payment 6 months after you graduate or become enrolled less than half-time. Currently, the interest rate for the loan is 5.28% fixed. We will find out usually in late June what the interest rate will be for loans that are dispersed between July 1st, 2022 and June 30th, 2023, but usually it's around 5 or 6%. How much can you borrow in this loan? Typically, graduate students are looking at a maximum of $20,500 for the year in that loan. If you need more than that, there's the Grad Plus loan. This loan does require a credit check, and it has a higher interest rate than the unsubsidized loan. So it's a point higher than the unsubsidized loan. If you do borrow this loan, then once you accept it in our Athena student portal, that will initiate the credit check for the loan, and federal student aid will email you to let you know the results of the credit check. If you apply for the loan and the credit check is turned down, you can appeal the credit check decision, or you can procure an endorser. That's like a co-signer for the loan. And federal student aid will let you know how to pursue both of those options if you're turned down for that loan. Please also keep in mind that they charge loan origination fees for these loans. So if you borrow a federal direct student loan, when we offer you the loan in Athena, you're going to see the gross amount before the loan origination fee has been deducted, but the net amount is what's going to actually apply to your charges at UGA. So the amount minus the loan origination fee. This is another way that the unsubsidized loan is more advantageous than the Grad Plus loan. The unsubsidized loan's loan origination fee is a little over 1%, whereas the Grad Plus loan origination fee is a little over 4%. So it has a higher origination fee. So for example, let's say you borrow that $20,500 in that unsubsidized loan. Typically that's split up half fall, half spring. So you can see that the gross amount for one semester would be $10,250, and then they would deduct $108 from the loan, and then that net amount would be what actually applies to your student account. How much can you borrow in student loans? A student's federal loans and other financial aid cannot exceed our cost of attendance, but we provide you with a cost of attendance that includes more than just tuition. We also include an amount for student fees, for housing, board, which is basically food, an estimate for books, transportation, and living expenses. One big question we receive is if you have an assistantship, can you still borrow student loans? Yes, you can. If a student has an assistantship, then typically most of their tuition is being waived, but you can still borrow student loans to help you with the student fees, your housing, your food, your books, your transportation, and your living expenses. And if you only want to borrow for tuition and student fees, you can do that as well, but you can borrow for all of these items listed here. Additional items to keep in mind is you do have to be enrolled at least half-time to receive a federal direct student loan. So half-time during fall or spring semesters is at least 5 hours for loan purposes. And then during the summer, you have to be in at least 3 hours. So what we do is once we get your FAFSA application, we generate our financial aid awards and post them into something called Athena. That's our student portal. When you log into Athena, there's a financial aid tab. You click on that. You would then choose the award year. So for the summer, the award year is 21-22. For the upcoming year, starting in the fall, that's the 22-23 year. And then you can click on award offer. If you're attending summer, then you should be able to see award offers that you can accept, decline, or modify. For the 22-23 year, we're going to generate those award offers in usually mid-June. Right now, if you look in Athena, it'll just be an estimated amount that you can't take action on. But in mid-June for the 22-23 year, we're going to generate the official awards, and you can accept, decline, or modify your loan offers at that time. Modify means you type in an amount that's less than the amount listed, and then it splits up that amount between the semesters listed. If you are a first-time borrower, keep in mind you must also complete a promissory note and entrance counseling through studentaid.gov before your loans will be dispersed. And keep in mind that the Grad Plus loan requires a separate master promissory note. All graduate students, including international students, can use our scholarship search portal, Scholarship Universe, to search and apply for scholarships. I highly encourage you to log into this portal. You just go to uga.scholarshipuniverse.com. You log in with your MyID and password, your UGA MyID and password. It'll start asking you questions, and the reason for that is to help you build a profile, and then it's going to match you up with scholarships that match your profile. And the great thing about Scholarship Universe is it tells you, hey, these are expiring soon, so you can focus in on those that have upcoming due dates. This portal is constantly updated, so I highly encourage to check it out frequently because you never know what scholarships might be posted there. The other great thing about this portal is that if you see a scholarship listed in this portal, you know it's not a scam. If we post a scholarship in this portal, it's been vetted. We have a team that works to research scholarships to make sure that they are legitimate. So the company we worked with to build this portal, if we send them a notice, they then will research the scholarship and make sure it's not a scam before posting it to this portal. All of this information and more can be found on our website. A lot of great information is housed under our quick links section. We have information about how to view your award in Athena. If you want to make a change to your award, so let's say you accept some student loans, but you don't accept the full amount, and then later on decide, actually, I need the full amount. We have information on how to complete a change in aid request to request additional loan funds. Lots of great information housed on our website, especially under the quick links section. And then if you'd like to contact our office, this is our contact information. We are open Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. We encourage students to make appointments if you want to meet with one of our counselors. If you go to our website, right on our homepage, we have a contacting OSPA page, and that's where you can go to schedule a phone, Zoom, or in-person appointment. And the great thing about our appointments is you can let us know, hey, here's the question I have. So that way, when you arrive for the appointment, we've had time to research it, and we'll hopefully already have an idea of how to resolve your question. If immediate assistance is needed, please feel free to give us a call at 706-542-6147. You can also send us an email, ospa@uga.edu, and we strive to respond to our emails within 48 hours. And so hopefully you found that informative. Thank you so much for being here today, and go Dogs.
Go Dogs. And Mandy's background is also the Holmes Hunter building, which is where Mandy's located. So I always love to highlight these backgrounds because it's giving you clues where we work or what we value. So that's right on North Campus. Thank you so much, Mandy.
No problem.
Once again, Mandy will be here for a couple minutes if someone has any urgent questions, but feel free to contact her by what she has shared with you. All right, everybody, I'm going back to sharing screen. Alma, can you see my campus partners slide? Just want to double check.
Yes.
All right, perfect. So everybody, next slide is, let's take a break. A break, it's not a word, but we'll do a brief break. For those who are following the agenda, I know we are not on time, but I don't want to push through and keep throwing information at you. So I'm going to take that time away from my presentation so that you have a break. So come back at 5:05. Once again, I'm just going to try and be as efficient as I can on my end, because I really think I want you to have a break to just exercise, stretch, take a walk, cook I don't know, eat an apple, whatever you have to do to breathe. Be well in these 8 minutes. All right, I'll be here and I'm going to pause the recording, and then I will press play on the recording once we're back from break. Hit the resume recording button. So we are back on Zoom recording, and I'm going to be starting very soon. So got 1 minute left. Righty. It is 5:05. Welcome back, everyone. I hope those 8 minutes were useful to you. Once again, I'd rather take away my time to talk than have you go through a full 2 hours without a break. So hopefully that was of use to you. Thank you so much for hanging in there with us. Don't hesitate, once again, to contact those campus partners. So what I'm going to do, so I'm going to launch our UGA Trivia. Alma, can you confirm that the trivia is visible?
It is.
All right, so everyone should be able to answer all 5 of those questions. And while you're reviewing it, Alma's gonna go and read through each question of the options all the way through the 5th question. And then after that, that's buying you some time to answer those, answer what you think is correct. And then I'll walk through and let you know what you know about UGA Trivia or not. So Alma, the floor is yours.
All right, question number 1. When did classes start at UGA? A, 1785, B, 1787, C, 1801, and D, 1803. I'll give you all a couple seconds to do that one. All right, next question. What was UGA's first mascot? A, a German Shepherd, B, a bulldog, C, a hawk, or D, a goat? I'll give you all a minute there. All right. All right, number 3. What year were women admitted as undergraduates? A, 1918, B, 1920, C, 1928, or D, 1930? I'll give you all a second there too. This is very split. Ooh.
Mhm.
All right, number 4. Who was the first African-American graduate student to desegregate at the University of Georgia? A, Mary Frances Early, B, Hamilton Holmes, C, Charlene Hunter Galt, or D, Horace Ward. I can't read today.
It's the heat.
Hopefully. All right, and the last question. What is the mission of the UGA Graduate School? A, recruiting and retaining top students to study at UGA. B, increasing enrollment. C, diversity and inclusion. Or D, growing first generation and historically underrepresented groups.
Thank you, Alma.
Of course.
All right, we'll give you a few more seconds to wrap up before we close the poll. It's going to close all of them, and I'm very intrigued to see what the group thinks. Let's see. All right, counting down from 10 seconds, give you some chances. And those who might be watching from home, I'm going to walk through each question via the PowerPoint slide so that you can see everything that we're watching as well. All right, I'm about to close it. We've got 60% who have participated. So I'm going to go ahead and hit end poll in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. All right. So closing the poll, I'm going to share results so everyone can see. Looks like everyone went for A for number 1, for number 2, B, number 3, C, and number 4, A, number 5, looks like C. So I'm gonna walk through. Let's see who's right. All right, classes started, according to the group, they believe it was 1785, but the correct answer is C, 1801. So UGA is the first public higher education institution. So we were established at 1785, but classes actually began in 1801. So that one is a little tricky. Next one, UGA's first mascot, the group says be a bulldog. That is unfortunately incorrect. The correct answer is D, a goat. So we were first the goats, and then someone said, you know what, let's do better. So we were inspired, ended up switching to the bulldog. Question number 3. What year were women admitted as undergraduates? So the group says 1928. The correct answer is A, 1918. And in fact, the first graduate is Mary Linden, and she has a dorm named after her on South Campus. Number 4 was the first African-American graduate student to desegregate the University of Georgia. We've got A, Mary Frances Early. That is correct. The group is right. Mary Frances Early was that first student, and then Hamilton Holmes and Charlene Hunter Galt were the first undergraduates. And that building for financial aid that Mary was talking about is named after those two. Horace Ward was the first student to apply for law school and was rejected, but represented Hamilton Holmes and Charlene Hunter to help those students get into UGA. And then last but not least, the mission is always a trick question. We do all these things, or we want to do all these things. So you're all right. We want to recruit, we want to retain and bring up our enrollment. We want to increase our diversity and inclusion, and we want to grow first generation and underrepresented groups, especially also those in your fields. So those are all the things that we strive to do. Thank you so much for participating. I love to test some of your knowledge as incoming students to see where you fall on UGA Trivia. So thank you so much for participating. And I want to say congratulations. I am so excited for you. Y'all have worked very hard. You represent your families, your friends, where you're from, your country, your roots. It's very important that I say congratulations. And this was not an easy feat. So that's why I'm giving you the fireworks today, because you deserve every single firework on the screen. I cannot wait for those who are coming on campus to be here. And hopefully this will be your home away from home for the next 2 to 4 to 5 to 6 years. And thank you for giving the cool sparkly hat. I see some of your cool emojis. So yeah, celebrate yourself, treat yourself, be well. You worked hard, you did it. So welcome, 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 and congratulations. So I want to reach back to some things I talked about earlier. My office is specifically the Office of Recruitment and Diversity Initiatives. Dr. Lisa Sperling is our senior director in the office. You got to hear from me a little bit. I am a first generation student. I'm originally from Miami, Florida. And then half of my years I've spent in South Georgia, and I've been in Athens for now 10 years. So I am currently also a PhD student, so a part-time PhD student. I just finished my second year. I've got 2 to 3 more years to go. So I understand the struggle. I got my master's here part-time, 2.5 years, and then I'm getting my PhD here. So I know how it feels, but you've got this. As someone who is wearing the shoes and still going through the journey, you've got this. So I'm very proud. I want to pause and let Alma introduce herself. So Alma, go ahead and introduce yourself, please.
Hi, everyone. My name is Alma Bayramovic. I'm a graduate assistant here at the Office of Recruitment and Diversity Initiatives. I'm starting my second year of my PhD program this fall, which is exciting. I'm in international affairs. So I also fully understand the struggle of us of graduate school. I did my master's here as well, and I did my undergrad here. So if y'all have like questions later about Athens in general, both Narki and I have been here literally forever. So we got all the tips on the good places to go to eat and stuff. What else did you say? Hometowns. I'm from all over the place. I was born in Germany. My family is from Bosnia. I live around Metro Atlanta otherwise, but we've been here forever. And I think that's it. Yes.
Yeah, and you know,
Cool.
since we have been here forever, that means we really like where we are.
Exactly.
So, so yeah, we've been here for a while. We've seen a lot of UGA in different places and time. So we're here to support you and help you, and others are also here. You'll hear about from the panel who bring a vast variety of perspectives as well. So now I'm going to start diving deep into some of the content very soon. Once again, I'm going to be very efficient. You will receive the slides. You will receive the video. I really believe you should have had that break, so I wanted to give you that time back to you. But I don't want to cut the current panel because that information is so important. They're going to share some information that you've had questions about, and then you'll get the other half of that panel time to ask the questions you want. So I want to make sure that we have time for that. If you want to find us, that is the building Brooks Hall. I will warn you now, whether you're here right now or you're listening to this as a recorded, Brooks Hall is a maze. You will get lost. It does not work normally. There's no elevator that goes from the basement to the 5th floor. It's a confusing building because it's 2 old buildings jammed into one. If you want to go to the main floor where the dean is located and Meredith, who spoke, you walk right into the picture you see. That's going to take you to the 3rd floor. If you want to visit RDI, email us, give us a heads up so that we can definitely know when you're coming and we can greet you. You want to come to the back of the building where our founder's garden is so that you don't get lost. Unless you want some steps, go for it. But yeah, we recommend coming at the back of the building. We're on the 1st floor. So if you want a profile of what does our graduate populations look like, we've got almost 9,000 students. Of the 40,000 that are here, 9,000 are from graduate programs and professional programs. I'm going to talk about, for the bulk of my presentation, kind of the to-do list. Here's some things that you want to keep in mind. Some of these areas were already covered, like housing, libraries, the health center. So I'm not going to go over those slides since we had the experts already talk to you. So I'm going to be, once again, very efficient and try to get through some of the core information, but you'll have this information in your hands tomorrow so that you are equipped. So definitely, once you're here, some of you may have already done this, make sure you have your verification of lawful presence done so that you can register if you haven't registered already, which is something you'll probably do later. Specifically for our international students, you have to go to compass.uga.edu. It's a way that you can check in online once you're physically present in the US so that they know you're here. That'll help you register. Once again, the registration process is a departmental question. So that's where you want to ask your graduate program coordinator, the people who've admitted you, those types of questions. And then also the types of documents will be located in that link, which you will be provided. For our international students, once again, representing 23 countries on the call, there is a specific international orientation and then a general grad school orientation. Our grad school orientation is yet to be announced, but the International Student Life Office host a more in-depth orientation for those coming across the seas or above the US or below the US. So for those, it's going to be August 7th through the 10th if you'd like to attend that. The different things you see on the slide is what they're going to discuss and talk about. Once again, when you get the slide, you'll open that link and you'll see more information about the International Student Orientation. The isl.uga.edu website is also brilliant. It has a ton of amazing resources to help international students. I highly recommend you go to that website because it's very helpful. And for those filling out their I-20 documents for immigration services, that's the office you will need to talk with. These are the figures and numbers you would need to put down if you have not already. That's where I got those numbers. So once again, you would talk to the immigration services office, which would be who you'd be in contact with to make sure you're processing all your documents. If you haven't already said thanks, hey, thanks for letting me in at UGA, make sure you do so. If you haven't had a chance to just say thanks, I'm excited to come to this department, to this program. I want you to think strategically, how do you ask about department-specific orientation activities? Because in addition to the general grad school orientation and the ISL grad school orientation, you also will have a departmental orientation. I've done this for my master's and my PhD, where they will do their own little small group for those students who are starting the same time as you. That's also when you talk about registration. So ask them when that date will be. Who's your faculty advisor? Who are some mentors in the program that you're attending? What are the listservs you need to join? That there's an email list where the graduate coordinators will send information or jobs or internships or funding. You want to say, can I please be added to that listserv so that I know the information that current students already know? So eventually they're going to plug you into that, but go ahead and ask some of these things. And then once again, registration, ask them what the process is. It's going to vary in each department. And then ask about the UGA ID. Generally, everyone will get a UGA ID. Certain buildings might require special access. So my building in Brooks Hall, after maybe 7, 8 p.m., I have to use my ID card to get in the building. Some of you might have that. So you want to say, is there any special access you need with your ID so it gets you into buildings? Those are some of the questions I'd say you want to contact your department and ask. There are others you might want to ask beyond that. So just keep that in mind. So Mandy today talked about financial aid. Primarily when you hear the word financial aid in grad school at UGA, you're going to hear a lot more about loans. So Mandy was great in providing you the Scholarship Universe website earlier, but you heard a lot about loans because that's what that office will talk to you about for grad school. Typically, graduate students are looking for assistantships. With an assistantship, if you receive one, you will receive a tuition waiver. It'll waiver tuition from approximately $4,600 to $25 a semester. You are still responsible for student fees, which is an estimate from spring of 22 on the slide. And then you're responsible for working between 13 and 16 hours a week in exchange for a stipend that would come at the end of the month. So that's breaking down what an assistantship will give you. Some of you may have it, some of you may not. So I want to talk a little bit about some of the classifications. Once again, a heavy conversation you need to have is with your department. And if not your department, we'll talk about other ways you can search. But teaching assistantship, so if you want to teach a class and or grade papers, if your professor is looking for that, you want to see that's what that means. If you're working in a lab, if you're a research assistant, generally, whether you're STEM or humanities, you have GRAs or you have a fellowship. There's some graduate fellowships. But some of our graduate fellowships require your department to nominate you. So they're going to be very picky about selecting students for fellowships. So you want to talk to them and say, are there scholarships and fellowships I need to know about with the department? Keep that in mind. If your department doesn't typically fund you, then students start looking at the graduate school as a whole. So as you heard with Carrie, Carrie said for housing assistantships, they're already taken for fall, but she's saying in next fall you can apply. Student Affairs has typically done some searches where they look for people. There are different offices like the Multicultural Services offices or the Office of Institutional Diversity, just like I have an office and Alma's my student. That's an example. In fact, I'll say this, we are looking for a graduate assistant to come in. That student, there's specific requirements and experiences that we would talk about in terms of that, but that's somewhere that, for example, who is that new person for next year that we would be looking for. So wherever you go, you need to, it's a little harder, I'm gonna be honest with you, when you don't secure an assistantship from the department. But if you don't, you start asking questions to see who's got openings, who needs a graduate assistant, which is what some of our students are, and where you can be plugged into. Now, let's say that didn't work. Then you want to go to other sources. We have a website called UGAJobsearch.com. That is a search button where you can go you can go on the website and you can filter out assistantships for graduate students, and it'll show you every assistantship that's open throughout the university of offices and labs that need a student. So UGAJobsearch.com is the website if you want to search that. So once again, typically a lot of the funding will happen at the departmental level, but if not, then you start having conversations outside of the department by looking for places and spaces, by looking for offices, as well as looking at UGAJobsearch.com or Scholarship Universe to see what funding you can get. Final admissions information, don't forget to turn in your final transcript and your proof of degree as you finish up. If you aren't someone who's already finished your degree, coming in and turn that in. If you're finishing up wherever you're coming from, make sure you've got that in. You already have by now your My ID. That's the section that's before your UGA email. That's how you log in everywhere at UGA. It's automatically assigned to you. And then also, you know our Wi-Fi will be pause secure, so that you'll be able to log in on campus anywhere. I mentioned the UGA card earlier, so once again, check with your department to see if there's any specific types of access, but it's approximately $30, cash, check, or card. Bring photo ID to room 309 in the Tate Student Center. The Tate Student Center is central to campus. It's right across the UGA Stadium. So you see my virtual background. Across from the stadium is the Tate Center. So you want to go there, bring your $30, make sure you have, if it's your first time, a driver's license or ID or passport or military ID so that you can get a UGA card. So keep that in mind. If you need accommodations, the Disability Resource Center is available at UGA. Once again, you'll get the slides where you can go to their website and sign up for test accommodations, or if you need some driving accommodations, make sure, or also testing in general, if you're trying to test to figure out what's going on, you can talk to the DRC to get registered and make sure you have those accommodations while you attend as a student. For parking, you can have lots as cheap as $20 a month, $30 a month, or $40 a month. You see the map is going to give you an idea of where you are on campus. Typically, when you talk to the parking services, they're going to ask you where your main building is. Where is your department? So I'm Brooks Hall. So when I call for parking, they're going to offer me lots that are surrounding where I would be at every day. So that's the situation for you. And the deductions, if you prefer not to be super close, I think what I've understood is the closer you are on campus, the more money you pay. The further you are off campus, the less money you pay. That's kind of a strategy in parking services. So keep that in mind. But if you don't want to park, you don't have to. Depending on where you live, there may be buses that come twice an hour or once an hour. There are specific areas where you can park and take a bus on campus. You can ride your bike. We're bike friendly in Athens. So there are other ways to get on campus that does not require you taking putting your car here and then paying something once a month. So keep that in mind. Outside of the UGA buses that we have on the left, we also do have Athens transit buses. So once again, if you're living off campus, there are several 20 plus buses on, and you just slide your UGA card. And because you've already paid the transportation fee, you're not charged anything. So that's also why you want to make sure you have your UGA card as well. Our graduate assistant, Dion Mitchum, actually created a virtual tour during the pandemic so that students who are out of state, students who are out from beyond the US, and even students who are in Georgia but may not have attended UGA could click on that link and get to see campus. So you'll see different academic colleges, traditions that we do at Georgia, student resources, and key campus spots. We want grad students to be a part just like anybody else. So once you click on that link, you see those links, you see the tabs above where you can click and see a visual of where you are and scroll. So if you are far away, if you haven't had a chance to check out campus, this is a way that you can do a preview of campus from home. And then when you arrive on campus, it doesn't feel so unfamiliar. You know that that's the stadium behind me, right? I talked about Holmes Hunter, the financial aid building that Mandy had, the chapel, which Whitney had in her background for career services. So now you know what Brooks Hall looks like. So get familiar with where you would be and then use this to get ahead so you can see these visuals. There are several different resources we provide on campus. We have several different workshops and series that take place to help students. We just heard from Dr. Welch-Devine about the Grad First Initiative, which is a campus-wide initiative of seminars to support more students, make sure they're starting on an even playing field. Several of you are coming from all sorts of places, but how do we get you together and give you the resources you need? That's a new initiative from the president of UGA. So this is just a long list of different things. If you're further along in your research, we do have a 3-minute thesis competition where students closer to the end of their journey can compete. And the top 3 or top 4 students do get financial prizes. If you have conferences you want to go to, there's a way you can apply for that. You're going to hear from representatives from the Graduate Student Association and also the Graduate and Professional Scholars group. There are 2 really important graduate student organizations on campus. 2 of them will be represented in our student panel. So they can talk about the things that they do, but we want you to feel plugged in and connected. You're going to receive this link, which has a lot of the direct links you need for what we've talked about today. I want to highlight quickly the Life in Athens link. So Carrie today talked about grad housing on campus, but if you Google search any of the general apartment websites, you can find off-campus housing as cheap as $350 with many roommates, or as high as $1,700 with yourself. So the Life in Athens has a list of different places you can click on that helps you find off-campus housing that's just in different databases. So I just want to point that out, since you only heard about on-campus housing, you didn't hear about off-campus housing. It's going to vary. All of us live in different places right now. If you are not from the main campus on Athens, I just wanted to link the different extended campuses that we do have at UGA so that you understand what those specific resources are on those different locations. I promised you that I would end at 5:30. It is 5:29, so I'm very glad that I was able to get through that. Once again, I know that that was really quick, but I wanted to make sure. This is, to me, like one of the most important aspects of Accepted Student Stay is hearing from these students and getting their perspectives and them filling in the gaps. So Amma is going to lead this section. I'm going to be on mute, and Amma, the floor is yours.
All right. So I'm going to let the panel introduce themselves in just a second. But this is their information here. Y'all will get this email like Narki mentioned, so they have all their contact information. I'm sure they're happy to answer questions, but they can answer that on their own. I have some questions here for them that they're going to answer. And then after we finish that up, y'all can ask any questions that you have left over. So do y'all want to go ahead and kind of introduce yourself, starting in the order on the slide?
Sure, yeah. First of all, thank you for having us here today. It's always a pleasure. So hello, everybody. Congratulations on your acceptance to UGA. It's a great place to be. I am an international student here. I'm doing my PhD in my 4th year. And as you can see on the screen, my home department is comparative literature and intercultural studies. I am also the current president of the Graduate Student Association, which I'm sure we'll be talking a lot more about later. And yeah, that's it. Alma, did I need to say anything more?
No, you're good.
Thank you.
Hi, everybody. I'm Christian Hogans. Echoing what Lena said, congratulations on being accepted into UGA. I will be beginning my 4th year in my PhD program in textile merchandising and interiors. I am from Jacksonville, Florida, and I'm also the acting president of Graduate and Professional Scholars.
What's good? I'm Jared Grant. I'm a 4th year PhD student or doctoral candidate in agriculture economics, and I'm from Savannah, Georgia.
Jamal Hunter, starting my 3rd year PhD in entomology. I'm from Patterson, Georgia, which is close to the Okefenokee Swamp.
Hi everyone, I'm Frances. I just actually graduated, and I think I'm the only one on the panel representing a master's program. So I graduated with my master's in public administration out of the School of International Public and International Affairs, originally from Miami, Florida. And I actually was, until a few weeks ago, the other graduate assistant working with Narki and Alma. So happy to be here and happy to be with all the panelists. I look forward to the conversation, and congratulations to everyone.
Welcome back, Francis. All right, so I'm going to start with the first question. This one is for Christian, Jared, and Jamal. How does graduate school compare to undergrad?
I guess. You want to start, Jamal?
Sure. I would say that the biggest difference for me is you have to be on top of your time management. You know, an undergrad, you have the classes, they're a lot more structured. You may have like exams or a lot of assignments. Graduate school, there's a lot fewer assignments and they tend to be bigger. But then because I am STEM, we do a lot of research and it's self-driven. So time management is really important in that aspect, in that regard.
For me, pretty much you get an undergrad, you take courses that you don't really care about as much versus grad school, you kind of get to pick and get to take things that you get to focus on and specialize in it, meaning you'll eventually be the expert in it and you get paid to actually do research. So that's one of the big pros.
Yeah, I will say that with graduate school, you begin to do research. So you are focusing on topics that are a lot more specialized to your interests. So that I do love. And you also do, it is a bit more responsibility. And I hope Jared at some point shares the analogy that he used for the McNair Scholars, because I really like that one. It is a lot more responsibility. So you do have to in some way reflect on a lot more time management strategies. But what I can say about comparison is there's still an opportunity for a work-life balance, which we do talk about later on. And there's still an opportunity to build community, which we'll also discuss. And there's tons of resources available. You just have to put yourself in the right spaces to ask questions and find what those are. But those are just some of the things that I can think of and how they do compare.
So that analogy is something that my major professor or my mentor once told me when I was starting. So undergrad is kind of like you're learning how to drive a car, like you're getting your learners, get your license. Masters, you're learning, okay, how to fix a car, how to like tend to it or the different parts to it. And then PhD is kind of like, I'm learning how to build a car, like make my own. So that's pretty much the best analogy. And I follow through with that because it makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
All right, thank you all. The next question is, what is life like as a graduate student in Athens? And this is for Francis, Jamal, and Lena.
All right, I'll jump in. So I came from Miami, Florida, which is an exciting, dynamic city. It is also very stressful. So for me, moving to Athens, and we've talked about these kinds of things before, where it really depends on where you're coming from, what Athens provides for you. For some people, they're coming from a smaller town, and Athens is really bustling. And for others, we're coming from large metropolises. And so Athens feels like much quieter. That was the case for me, and it was something that I was really, that was a welcome change and provided me a lot of peace, serenity, and the ability to concentrate on my studies. Yeah, 305. But anyway, so one of the things that I really love about Athens, I think Athens is an incredibly inviting place. There's lots of small town businesses. We'll talk a little bit more about kind of the social element of Athens, but I think that just the character of the city as a place that's very welcoming is something that I found supported me as a graduate student. Aside from the university itself and the resources provided there. The other thing I'll say is the green like landscape. There are so many beautiful parks and places to hike in town. So again, those are really special elements of just kind of taking a break, making sure to walk and kind of like see the world outside of, you know, your lab or your department. I think that those are really important. I'll feel free to add more, but I don't want to take up too much time. So that's kind of the gist of my response to the question.
Do you want to go ahead, Jamal?
Sure. So I'm pretty much the exact opposite as where I hail from. I come from Patterson, small town, one red light, for context, rural Georgia. And so for me, Athens is rather large. It's the largest city that I would ever want to live in, because it does have traffic around, you know, the start and the end of the workday. But it does have a lot of things that you can go do. There's a lot of eateries. I've been here for 6 years and I'm still finding new places to eat and new things to do. So there definitely is a lot. As far as like quietness, it's not exactly quiet to me. And I would say that because it seems like at least every hour you hear a siren of something, you know, there seems to be a fire everywhere all the time. But other than that, you do have options to also find housing kind of outside of the little city limits. So if you do want something a little quieter, that is also an option.
Yeah, echoing off of that, actually, I come from a big city. Like I was born in a big city. I was raised in a big city. I went to an undergrad institution that was in a very big city. So when I came to Athens, actually, it was like I took a lot of time to actually gradually put myself into the pace of the town, but it's grown on me so much. Like I don't think I want to go back to living in bigger, noisy cities anymore. So it grows on you. It's really special. Like, you know, Athens has its own music and arts festival every year that happens in summers. I think it's back on again. AthFest, it's called AthFest. So, you know, interesting things to look around, do around the city. One thing I would say though is that, you know, as graduate students, we are kind of in that transition phase mostly because of our roles here, like as graduate assistants, TAs, lab assistants, and so on. So we're like in between the undergraduates and the professors, mostly because we also teach or help in their research. So it's I don't know, it's actually a very good learning experience. Like it's not bad at all. Like I have learned a lot in these 4 years in my doctoral program, and yeah, it's been amazing. It's been an amazing journey. And you get to meet amazing people like Francis, Narki, Alma, Christian, Jamal, Jared, everybody, you know, we are all about community here, so it's wonderful.
Thank you for these awesome answers. All right, next question is for Jared, Lena, Christian, and Francis. Are you able to have a social life in grad school?
Depends on your definition of a social life. And I don't mean that just sarcastically, but I think that, you know, there are a lot of people who find community within their department, and that's a really wonderful thing, especially with the doctoral program. That's something that many departments have cohort based programs where you're expected to not only learn but grow with and bond with your classmates. My program was professional, and I had over 80 students, I believe, in like my year. So there were a lot of people to get to interact with from all sorts of backgrounds and different, stages in their life and profession. So that was dynamic enough for me to socialize and feel connected, but some other departments are smaller. And so you might not find the social life that you want there. And so one piece of advice that I would say is that graduate school, you really have to be proactive. So just undergrad, there's just all of this energy and attention from administration, from your professors, from your departments, that they're trying to get you to meet one another. You're going across campus, you're having classes in different departments. Grad school is so much more of a silo. And if you're not intentional about breaking from that silo, you will be just seeing the people that you work with, which can be a good thing, or it can be a bad thing if you really want to break free. So I think Athens and UGA, as you'll hear from Christian, Lena, who are major student organizers, are important. It's important to be connected to the resources that'll help you find people. And for a quick example, I was involved as the co-chair of the Hispanic Student Association Graduate Committee, which is something that hasn't been around for a while, actually. So we had to go out of our way and say, like, hey, we're here. We want community for international and domestic students who identify as Latino, Latinx. And so plug in, make yourself seen, and find the people that will bring you community.
I can't stress what Francis said about being proactive, because it's not like undergrad, like she said, a lot of things happen around grad school because you're so focused on what you're doing and how you move in your research. And sometimes you have to make necessary, not even socially, but just need a break. And you have to like go out for it. You have to go out and get it. And even with organizations, or you meet your people, how like undergrad, oh, we can meet up on the weekends. Sometimes you have to like balance or schedule time with the people that you meet, because, oh, I got to be in the lab this week. Oh, I don't have a lab. I just be at my desk. So just communicating and all that. But yeah, it's definitely proactive. It's not just going to happen sometimes. But when it does, you appreciate it.
I completely agree, actually, with both of you. Like, we are so involved in our own research, and with the job responsibilities that we have, it's very easy to just get isolated sometimes and not not communicate with anybody, maybe except a few people that you see at work every day. And I would say self-care is a very important part of a graduate student's life, and that is a part of your social life, I think. Just don't ever forget that, you need a few very good, you need very few good people to have your back at all times, basically. That's it. And, Christian, I'm sure you'll talk about GAPS too. And I would say that, GAPS and GSA are two amazing organizations. We advocate for graduate students as well, try to help them out with different issues and everything. So, just staying in touch, and maybe just, going through our newsletters, or, coming to one of our meetings or social events, helps keep you in touch with the rest of the university or the graduate student community.
Yes, and I guess like not to echo what everyone else is saying, but also to echo what everyone else is saying. It can be very easy building that car, getting very like siloed to your department. I can say that I've been very fortunate to also have a community within my department. Not all departments have cohorts, and I have a very small cohort where we do plan time together throughout the semester. So if you do have a cohort, I do say trying to reach out, build that community within your department, so that you all are just like, again, being reflective and having lots of conversations about your experience, because it can get kind of tough. Like, graduate school isn't easy. I think that's something we can all agree on. It does have its own challenges. So it's great to be able to have some people that you can sit down and have conversations with and reflect on that. But also, as a part of Graduate and Professional Scholars, not only do we make sure that all grad students have the resources that they need, not just for the university, but also in the community, we try to plan a lot of programming. I think this year, I was counting earlier, GAPS plan about 30 events throughout this entire academic year. So we always try to make sure that we have events for our members and other graduate students who may not know about GAPS, have events for people to just be able to relax and unwind, build community, and meet other people. But also, like Lena mentioned earlier, there's lots of festivals, there are lots of nature activities, lots of things that happen within the city of Athens that we all in some way are privy to, whether that be through Red and Black, or if you sign up for a newsletter, to just find something to just like take a break from all of what happens academically. And I think just as we plan things on our calendars, as far as our academic responsibilities, it's great to be mindful of planning your own personal relaxation hours as well. So just as often as you put your academic responsibilities on your calendar, I think it's important to put things for yourself and your wellness and your well-being on your calendar as well, just to be able to take a break. But I definitely do think that it's very possible to have a social life. I've been able to have one. And I like to mention to people that Atlanta is like right up the highway. So even if I just want to get away from Athens for a bit, I take a drive to Atlanta with some friends or Beaufort or wherever, and find activities there outside the city, of the town, because it's very small to me.
Yeah, those are all really good points. And just to add, and you'll see this more when you get here, there is like a big involvement network where you can search organizations, and there's literally over 700. So there is something for everyone. And whether you're close to your cohort or not, like you can find a group of students to connect with, kind of like through GSA or GAPS or whatever it may be, the Hispanic Student Association. For me, it's ballroom. It just depends on what you're interested in. You can always find something. But I'm going to go ahead and open it out to the floor because I'm sure y'all have questions and our panel is awesome. So we want to use that opportunity. You can either type, let's actually just type the questions in chat and we'll get them read out. But yeah, go ahead and ask away. If not, I've got a question for y'all, but I'm going to let them try to ask a question first. Don't be shy, this is your time. There's no way there are no questions. Come on.
Whilst they're getting ready, we can answer that last.
Here we go. Do we get academic advisors for grad school, or is it all up to us?
That's a good question. Okay. I mean, I guess I can start. So, I have my own experiences. So one thing I do want to preface for all of these questions and our answers that we give is it is definitely all based on our own personal experiences. It's going to be very different department to department, program to program, college to college. For me, I got to choose my academic advisor. The advice that I was given was that it is important to have conversations with each of the professors who can act as advisors in your programs. And those conversations that you have, you're able to find out if your research and your interests relate to theirs. And if you would have, sort of, I guess, like a good relationship with them, because they'll be your advisor for hopefully the next like 4, possibly 5 years, however long your program is. So you can choose. Some people have labs. So you may be assigned to a lab. You may choose the lab that you want to be a part of. So it can differ. But I know for my program, and I guess I could recommend for all programs, it's just like invest in having those conversations and getting to know your professors within your department so you know how well you interact with them and what that relationship could look like for the trajectory of your program.
All right, awesome. I'm gonna keep it to one panelist per question because now we've got like 10 million. I made the mistake of, calling them out for not having questions. Some of these I'm going to answer in the chat because they're yes or no questions. Some of these have more detailed questions. So here's one. As a grad student, how easy is it to participate in university clubs?
It's quite easy. Again, I think you just have to be proactive. Sometimes it seems like for graduate school, the clubs aren't reaching out to you unless it's a specific graduate student oriented club. But otherwise, there's a lot of clubs. We can join the undergrad clubs or whatnot, have you, but you just have to say, all right, this is something I want to do. Let me go out and pursue it. And they're really open and inviting and all that good stuff. I think I might possibly be joining the, I think there's like a sewing club. So I think I might be joining that next semester. So.
Wait, I want that link.
I wish
That's
I knew about
awesome.
that. I just want to say also that the campus office that organizes the involvement network that kind of puts together all of the club information, they also have involvement fairs. There's a big one, I think in the fall, and then there's mini fairs and they're by theme. So if you're really interested in professional clubs or service oriented clubs, they have like a fair where you can go and just get to know about those. So keep an eye out for those events, because I think they're a great way to get exposed if you don't know where to start.
All right. There's a lot of questions on housing. Narki sent a great, or I can send a link in a minute about housing, and the speaker on housing will have resource on that too in the presentation. So I'm gonna try to send links in the chat while we have our awesome panel talking. Do y'all have any advice on the best areas to live around town? Your personal preferences?
It depends on what you want to live for. Because when I first came here, I lived downtown, which was really expensive, 1 bedroom. I didn't like it because it was just loud and all that. Then I moved to a place where I shared a bathroom with somebody. The rent was cheap. Like I saved a lot of money, but the rent and it depends on your tolerance to like how you want to live, if you want to live alone or not. Then I kind of settled on, like, I noticed that in Athens specifically, some 1 bedrooms are like 1,200 or 1,300 versus a 2 bedroom that's unfurnished is like 1,050. So I was like, well, let me get a 2 bedroom. So it all depends on how you want to live. If you want to do with furniture, if you want to be downtown. I saw a question about commuting. College Station, which is on that's east side, right? Like near Riverman and all that. That street is terrible at 5 o'clock traffic. That is the worst traffic probably in Athens. And I think Jamal can attest to that because he mentioned it earlier. But it's knowing that's probably like the worst part of it. Everything else is pretty much like, eh. And there's a part where there's the connection. A lot of grad students live with the connection where you might have a roommate, but you got your own bathroom. That's probably the farthest from campus. So it depends on but it's quieter. So it depends on how you want to live.
All right. Still looking through these. The bus service question, yes, bus services are free for students, including the city buses. They are free, which is really awesome that the city like accommodates that for us. How efficient or easy is it to use the bus system? Do y'all use the buses regularly?
I do because I refuse to pay for parking. I come from the country. Any spot you see is a parking spot and it's free. So it's actually really easy. The city bus comes on a hour loop, and it's pretty convenient. At least it is for me. I think if I decide not to drive, an hour loop is just something I have to deal with. The campus bus tends to be more frequent. It tends to fluctuate between a 15-minute to 30-minute loop and possibly an hour loop, depending on the part of the year. So like they're like in between semesters, you have some weird stuff where you might get a bus every hour or you might get it once a day, but you can plan around that. But it's relatively easy. You literally just hop on the bus. Bus drivers are really friendly. Hey, I'm trying to get to so-and-so, or you can always call the Athens Transit or the UGA Transit for any information. And whilst I'm here, I wanted to also talk about the question about the advisor. So like in the entomology department, again, whoever you decide to do your research under is automatically your advisor. However, I would say make sure that you advocate for yourself when it comes to classes that you want to take, because your graduate degree is a degree for you, no one else. I had to advocate for a class that I wanted to take that my professor didn't necessarily want me to take. So just, you do really get to tailor your own thing. There may be things that's specific to your degree or whatever project you're working on that your committee may suggest that you take, but again, it's more of a conversation rather than a demand. So remember that.
All right, I'm seeing, so I'm gonna kind of throw these a little together. There was one question about speaking to the Black graduate student experience, and there was a question asking about the LGBT student experience as well. Could anyone touch on either of those or both?
I can talk a little bit about the grad pride actually. We recently helped GSA recently, along with the graduate school, we helped Grad Pride increase its membership. We are currently at more than 200 membership right now, and it's a budding organization. It's really great. I think Christian Gaps did a wonderful event with Grad Pride at the end of last semester, which was great. And yeah, there is something here for everybody. That's the best part.
Yes, there was also another question about how do we get connected as new students. I kind of want to integrate that in there because GSA and GAPS also has a presence on social media. So GAPS, we are known as Graduate and Professional Scholars, or GAPS on Facebook. Instagram is UGA_GAPS. If you'd like to get connected, we have a link tree there that's connected to all of our websites where you can learn more about our organization. Our organization was founded in the 80s by 2 Black men from Morehouse. In Atlanta. It is an organization for students who identify as part of historically marginalized groups. Over the past couple of years, it has predominantly been the membership has been predominantly Black over the past couple of years, at least from my experiences being here. And GAPS has been my home since I've been at UGA. I think if you're looking to build a community with other Black students here on campus, that would be a great outlet that I can recommend, not just as a shameless plug. It's been very helpful for me to kind of stay leveled while I've been in graduate school, and I met a lot of my really great friends here through GAPS. Also, if you do choose to attend orientation, which or is orientation in August?
They have not made a date as usual. So they have not determined a date yet, but it will probably be the second week of August. That I think classes start on Wednesday. Don't hold me to that or this recording, but I think it will probably be Monday or Tuesday. It's usually a day before the first day of school, but don't hold me to that.
Okay. I mean, I hate to speak so far in advance and nothing has been planned. I just know from this past year at orientation, there's opportunities to stop at tables and meet the leaders of these organizations and have more conversations, sign up for listservs and find out how you can be involved. I started GAPS like at orientation. I actually emailed the president at that time of GAPS at Student Acceptance Day. So because I knew that's where I wanted to be involved, like as soon as I heard about it. So again, what Francis said earlier, just being proactive and asking questions. I wish that I could answer more questions as far as like the housing. There's so much housing that is around Athens, and you do really have to do your research about them. But I know Jared mentioned like it just depends on what you're looking for. But yeah, I can say that your experience is what you make it is something that I do want to also mention.
All right, y'all, thank you. We're gonna cut it off here for our questions. Again, if y'all have more questions, y'all can always email our office. And then if panelists, if y'all are okay with people reaching out with any questions, their contact is there. But we're also always happy to answer questions as well. And once you get on campus, this, like Narki mentioned, this is not the last time you have to see any of us. We are around. So please do come talk to us, do ask questions. We're here for that. But I'm gonna pass it back to Narki now.
Thank you so much, Alma. Thank you, panelists. I have tapped these amazing people multiple times, all the time throughout the year, and I'm very grateful for them always being so willing. And Francis being the alumni now in the group, thank you so much for being on this flip side. So thank y'all for your time. Students, I know we were not able to answer every single question in the chat, but I'm proud that you met Alma's challenge because we then had more questions than answers. So that's great. So thank y'all again, panelists, so much for your time. And once again, you will get the slides You have everyone's contact information. If you have some follow-up questions, this does not have to be, if that's a sub theme today, this does not have to be the last time you talk to us. So just please keep that in mind. Thank you all. As we wrap up, for those here and those watching the recording, here's our social media. GAPS and GSA will have a lot of welcoming events right after orientation is over. So you're going to see a lot of information, a lot of social connection. I think that was a really big theme in the questions some of you submitted. So with Christian's talking about what Lena's talking about, after orientation, you have too many things that you can join and be a part of, which is a good thing. So please, there's going to be a lot of opportunities to plug in and be connected. And I'm going to pause the recording here, but I'm very grateful that you all were able to participate